is Sunshine with NYA, and I am NYA, the brand. Welcome aboard. So today we chat with a phenomenal Ghanaian woman who is reshaping the narrative of African craftsmanship, one design at a time. She actually leads one of the most respected furniture brands in the country. That and more when we return. This is Sunshine with NYA, and I am your one and only NYA, the brand. You're welcome back. This is Sunshine with NYA, and I am your one and only NYA, the brand. Thank you so much for keeping me company right here. And so, what started as internship, mother's, carpentry shop, has now become a very huge and respected brand that is actually creating employment and producing annually over 10,000 pieces of furniture. And I'm talking about furniture that actually tell the African story wherever it goes. I am speaking today with the managing director of one of the most respected furniture brands in Ghana, and I'm talking about Tekura. Audrey Forson is my guest.
Nice to see you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Also
how am I sure you are not Francisca, your twin sister Francisca, sitting right? Or we should do a DNA test right now.
Perhaps we should do a DNA test.
Because the resemblance is so much.
I know.
And today I have to say it right here on the air that the support you have for each other is very admirable. I've been watching you from afar.
Yes. I guess we are both our favorite persons. We are beyond twins. We're best friends. So that also helps, gearing each other up, garnering support, and then being there for one another. It's important.
That is amazing. Quite admirable. I know twins are inseparable. They support each other, but yours has been like that since I've known you.
Yes.
Your gestures are the same. Your everything is the same. But once again, thank you so much for coming. So run us through you growing up, primary school. Because you see, for a lady to be a carpenter, we would want to unravel you.
That's true.
Okay?
Yes.
We want to know your thought process.
Yeah.
We want to know you as a baby, how you grew up. How were you growing up?
So I was, and I still am, a very introverted person. I keep to myself, very quiet, but that comes with a catch. I'm an artist. I was born an artist. I realized at a very tender age, I could draw, I could paint. And so I would mess up our family home, the walls, the floors, any surface I could get my hands on. Crayons, colored chalk, pencils, pens, whatever it is, even broomsticks, right?
Yes, I know you were doing art with broomsticks.
Broomsticks. My dad would get us watercolors and then papers, and we'll just be painting. And I was doing this with Kakra, actually. So Kakra has in her also the ability to paint and draw.
It runs in the family.
Yes, my father has that. My older brother has that as well. Perhaps mine manifested in Tekura and Kakra's manifested in media. But my father played a pivotal role in encouraging and supporting our creativity. I remember that at some point in school, there was a contest, and then I participated. I won, and then I was supposed to pursue it at the municipal or national level. But in those days, the focus was on grades. You have to study. So I think we were discouraged from taking it further. It broke my heart, but I was like, let me just do what I'm to do as a child, and perhaps when I grow up, I can pursue it, because I remember very well that I had dreams of becoming a renowned artist, a global artist.
Oh.
I don't know if it was the media I was consuming at the time. Maybe I was watching movies or reading magazines about fine art, but I had that dream. I would sleep literally and dream about throwing, oil paint on canvas and creating things. I still do art. But let's say I didn't become the renowned artist I wanted to be.
Well, of course you will become, but you are saying that from primary school at that tender age,
yes,
you were dreaming.
Yes, I was certain that my destiny or my path was going to be in art. Fast forward, I'm in design, and design is a manifestation or translation of art. So I haven't really gone off course. I just knew that my source of livelihood was going to be connected to my hands somehow. And as a child, I was just excited about drawing on papers and whatever. But when I got to, I don't know if I should.
Yes, we'll talk about secondary school. But
Sure.
I think, Audrey, you are an ancestor. I think you probably reincarnated because at such a tender age, every child wants to be a doctor. Every parent wants their
I did
child
want to be a doctor, but priority was being a fine artist, and that I kept to myself. And let's say Kakra, because she was closer to me. To most people in our family who didn't know I had the ability to draw, they say, "Oh, she's going to study science at Wesley Girls and become a doctor." At some point, I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to be a neurosurgeon.
Okay.
I wanted to be
all those who do
all of that, because the society informs you what you should do. But deep down my heart, I knew that art was going to be it for me.
Secondary school, what did you study?
So I was in Holy Child School in Cape Coast. I studied, and I cried every day because I was sad. Well, not literally, but I was sad about my own choices. I studied economics, geography, elective mathematics, and French. Now, let me tell you why I chose that.
You chose it.
So, Holy Child offers the school, like any other school, in packages or combinations. And everybody wanted me to go for science. But I found it not interesting, rather boring. And I didn't want to be a doctor by the time I was filling my forms for selection of high schools. So, when I got to Holy Child, I said, okay, you know what? Let's do, it was between general arts, which is the combination I just shared with you, and visual art. My heart was for visual art. But where you are coming from also informs what
where
choices.
Where you are coming from, is it on the parents' side?
Yes.
Your parents didn't want you to study visual arts.
So my parents are coming from a generation where visual arts, home economics, technical skills were not respected or regarded. So they want you to pick something that will give you that absolutely make you an intellectual, give you that respectable life.
Right.
And so I went for general arts, and I picked geography. I picked geography because I love nature. I love the natural environment. I love the beaches. I love the mountains. I love exploring the environment. And I saw geography. I love things about the weather, the sun, the moon, and so on. So I picked geography just to get more knowledge about it. I picked French because I'm a lover of languages, and I've loved the Francophone culture. Although at that time I had never been to any Francophone country, I just loved how they were able to express their cultural aspect, the cultural aspect of their lives, regardless. So let me just say, growing up in the 1990s,
you're a 90s babe.
Yes, Ghanaian culture wasn't regarded as much. But if you look at the Francophones, at least on television or whichever media you were consuming, their dances, the way they speak, they were romanticizing culture.
Right.
And so I was in love with that way of life, and probably that was what made me pursue French. And I would study French even at a higher level. Elective math, I didn't have a choice but to accept it. When I was in high school, I didn't like math. But when I was in university, I realized math is important in literally everything that we're doing.
So, at a point, you were still at Holy Child.
Yes.
And your mother was running this company already.
Yes.
You were so much passionate about it that you wanted to be a part of it.
Yes.
Why didn't you just be a part of it and you decided to intern? You know what that means?
Yes.
You are cleaning up the place. You are sourcing materials.
Yes.
You are probably even buying banku and stew for someone, one of the artisans. Why did you decide to intern at your mother's workshop?
I'm a very curious mind, in the sense that when you put me in a place, I can't sit still. I'm going to start walking around, touching things, lifting things. I like to understand the how and the why. And so being a creative or being an artistic child, and then seeing that Mama has started this business and all of this is happening, I wanted to understand it into details. Yes, I get it. It was nice. We're making these beautiful products and packaging them and exporting them. But I wanted to understand what was the bedrock of it, because then it will make sense to me why I'm interested in it or why I'm excited about it. Just running around what would not be enough, maybe for my soul, perhaps. It's just a certain curiosity I can't explain. When I'm excited about something, I want to like break it down soak it in, understand it, focus on it, and then it becomes second nature. That information that I'm pursuing or whatever it is becomes second nature to me, that I can understand it easily. And for me, that was what getting in there and interning was about. In the early days, when I was in Holy Child and started interning, I moved through these artisans, and then I understood how the beautiful product will get to that point. Because when we would come from school, you just see them packaging these nice tools, and you're like, what is going on? But you go behind the scenes and go and see how it's being made. It gives you a different appreciation of what is going on.
Right from the scratch.
There's value. You even have respect for the artisans, right? And in those times, it was important. Even today, it is still important, because these people are creating. And a lot of times we underplay the value of creating something. It's something we do as children a lot. We're either playing with sand or clay or plastics or pieces of wood or paint or whatever it is. It's training our minds. And when we grow up, we come to realize that every day is a form of creation for you. Going to work with your objectives or your goals, achieving those goals. You're creating, you're in your creative mode. Right. Creativity is not...
What lessons did you pick being an intern?
Those were probably the toughest moments, but also my best moments, because, again, I'm a curious mind. So anything that requires me to learn excites me. So that's one thing I would say was I learned humility. Because when you're growing up and you're in school, you assume that education is everything, right? But you come to realize that education is, first of all, not limited to what you're being taught in school. Working with the artisans was education. Running errands for my parents was education. So I was learning humility. I was learning tenacity. I was learning resilience. And I didn't know this. I will know this in the future. I was learning to build, to be a builder. I was learning to be a team player. I was learning even leadership without realizing it. So for me, my early days in Tekura are my best days, because it's what has formed the who that everybody sees now.
The admirable who you are today. When you became an employee, what was it like?
Oh, it was tough.
Transitioning to...
It was tough. I had a bit of frictions with the artisans, some of the master artisans, because I was seen as a privileged child because the business belonged to my mother. So it was tough to get some people to follow the line. It was tough to get them to understand that I'm also here as a worker, right? Although I may be related to the family. So that's where teamwork, humility, empathy, so having a supportive nature or supportive sense will come in place to help you get beyond some of these things. And over time, many of these artisans will become like my buddies.
Did you at a point break down? Because as you are saying it so easily, like under them, I'm sure there was crying and all of that in it. You're saying something professional, and someone is seeing that because you are the daughter of the so and so and so. You're so trying to tell me what to do. In
my younger years, I was more temperamental. So crying, not so much, but getting angry, yes. I would get angry a lot.
Wow.
But I've matured. I've learned over time. I manage my emotions very well. So I would get very irritated by the lack of understanding of what was going on, and the lack of understanding that I'm not in your lane. I'm just coming to learn. I'm not here to compete. I'm not here to take your work away from you. All of the little pettiness, right? But you will, and so something I'm grateful for was that I put myself in there. When you throw yourself into a situation like that, everything hits you at the same time. And then you are forced to take a step back, assess, and so your next action, you think about carefully. It's not reactive, it's thoughtful. Yeah.
That's right. So let's quickly look at the oldest design. I'm so interested in that. That was the ring stool.
Yes.
And you called it Tekura.
I'm surprised you know that.
When you say Tekura, my humble self, I went to...
You're a serious researcher.
I tell you. But no, when I'm interested in something, I want to find out, unravel and find out why this and that, because No, you are an amazing person, passionate about what you do. I got to find out a lot about you. That Tekura, me, the name, what comes to my mind is the Tekura that we put on, but it doesn't even look like that, what the fancies were.
No.
Where did the name come from?
So the name is actually from home, from Ghana. My parents are Fantis, both parents are Fantis. So daddy is Kweku Techi, and then mommy is Abba Kranchoa. So I call Tekura a product of love because Techi meets Kranchoa, they fall in love, they have a family, and then they birth the business. So the business is like their pension baby. And the Tekura stool, which was originally ring stool, and I'll tell you why it was ring stool, because the inspiration was coming from the Adinkrahine, which is a concentric circle of 3 circles with the same center, and essentially talking about leadership, authority, and centrality. So it's shaped in that concentric manner to show that leadership must have impact. It must spiral outwards, so that whatever you do as a leader should have impact on the people who are following you, the people in your community. So I loved that stool so much. And then I love our culture. I learned so many things from symbols, from the foods we're eating, from tools we're using, and so on. Now, they create this tool together, and they created it from about 98, 99 with this artisan, wood turning artisan, master artisan called Kennedy. May his soul rest in peace. He passed away a long time ago. But there was a lot of back and forth in trying to get the stool to be a perfect piece. And this stool for my parents was their interpretation of the asesegwa, the traditional stool. So it was giving it a new twist. It was 99, we're moving into the millennium, things are changing. So asesegwa is being transformed into this modern piece, or let's say contemporary piece that still has the form and essence of your traditional asesegwa, but it looks slightly different. It looks more contemporary with very minimal, clean lines, little detail, smooth edges. So for me, that process, that journey for them was phenomenal. It was an amazing design experience.
But standing back, somebody would also argue that its originality might have been diluted that much.
So my belief of culture is culture evolves.
Right.
And culture in being interpreted in design must evolve. We as designers of the 2020s, we are creating the designs now. My parents in the 2000s created the design then. So it's important to appreciate that culture must evolve, design must evolve to put down or to document the trends, the times of the now, because it's important to appreciate that. And we are fortunate to have had our ancestors leave all these Adinkra symbols and weaving techniques and carving techniques for us. Ours is to reinvent it to fit the now. So it's important that it dilutes, but we must always remember the origins. Because what makes us stand out as Ghanaians, what makes us stand out as Africans, will be the origins. There are stools everywhere, but there are stools peculiar to West Africa, peculiar to Ghana, peculiar to Volta, peculiar to Ashanti, peculiar to Central. So those are, to me, the unique elements of design.
Okay, we'll be looking at the current designs you have and which stories they tell, maybe a couple of them. And before we go for a very quick break, your mother might have been amazing, as she still is. Where did she source her designs from?
Can I take us back quickly and then tell you why I changed the name? Because I think it's important.
We didn't even land on that.
Why I changed the name from the ring stool to the Tekura stool. So having said that Tekura is essentially mom and dad's name put together, I believed that when I came in the business, I believed that they have done so much work in the space of heritage. And so to honor them and to commemorate their work, I thought it would be an homage to name that stool. So we have a number of stools, Tekura stools in that collection, and I changed all of it. There was rings bridal, there was Tekura mask. I changed everything to Tekura's collection. So all the stools under that collection is essentially an homage to my parents, acknowledging the foundational work that they did. Because Tekura without that foundation will not be here. If you understand what I mean.
I know. I get it. I'm out of this world thinking some other young person would have said, yo, I'm in charge right now. Huh? How you guys do it? I'm going to do it this way. But you decided to honor them.
Yes. I am a person who believes every generation is important, young and old, when you come in as a young person, it's important to acknowledge the work that the older ones have done and give them their respect.
And then you don't completely throw away the old.
No.
You do a blend.
Older people, you see, when we go back into our heritage again, it's there. Older people are supposed to serve as a catalyst in communities, guiding the new generation of leadership, giving them direction, nuggets of wisdom, so that we improve on what they have done already. And that's what we're doing in Tekura, actually.
So fast forward, you now took over as managing director. We'll delve into that and how resilient you've been and how far you've taken us globally and everything. Where do you source your designs from? How do you get inspiration? I have seen a couple of them.
So I'm going to compare.
Where do you get them from?
So I'm going to compare mine to my mother's.
Right.
My mother worked at Aid to Artisans Ghana, which was an NGO set up in the 1980s to support the business of craft and artisans to scale, to export their business, because there was a non-traditional export agenda and at a national level. So all these institutions were set up by the governments of the time. And my mother worked there as a secretary, and she was asked to also manage the store. And managing the store means that you see all the inventory coming in, going out, the craft pieces produced, you take records of them. So she will get to know about the Fang mask, the Guru mask, the figurines, the Kaba dolls, etc. And that excited her in the sense that she was marveled by how human beings will sit down and with simple tools create these pieces. 2, she was also able to identify a gap. She saw that the artisans were excited about creating, not necessarily the business side of it. And so she would set up her business to close that gap, bring the artisans in. And my mother's way of expressing her creativity is very conceptual. She's in the middle of cooking or something, and then she has an idea in her head. And she's not very good with drawing, so she'll call you, come, cover a pencil, now we'll sketchbook. And then she starts to express herself for you to note down. I remember she would do that a lot with my father. My father's the more like expressive artist, so he can take a pencil and sketch and draw. And my mother is more conceptual, so it's in her mind. And she's actually very good with blending textures and patterns and colors. I don't know how, because she was a secretary, so I don't know.
It's divine, right?
I think it's
gotta be.
Perhaps. So the two together, they would come up and create a lot of designs that were out of the world.
And you.
And
what happens to you? Because you have just told me when creativity hits her, this is what she does.
So for me as well, I have my moments. I draw my inspiration from the environment, natural and artificial. And so, in fact, last night, my lights were not working in the bathroom. The lights were off, and I was in the middle of getting ready for work. So I literally used my phone as light. And as I lifted my head, I could see a silhouette on the ceiling. When I close my left eye, I see a face with my right eye open. And then when I do the inverse, I see like a bottle.
Wow.
And so when I got to the office, I started sketching it. So I literally sketched a bottle-looking thingy with a face, and then I put a surface on it, and it became a table.
God bless the one that switched your lights off. I must say, this is amazing. This is amazing. Some creativity is out of this world. But
so it's absorbing everything around me, and then at some point, it starts to make sense. Last week, I was at Forestry Commission for an event. And as I was wiping my neck because it was warm, I looked up, I saw a tree in the and the branches. That has also turned into a product.
Into something.
Just seeing how they would come out and bend. I was like, this is divine. Like, I have to turn this into a Tekura piece. And I've literally done a sketch in my sketchbook. So I literally pick little things, and because I'm in a space of design and furniture, I transform them
into that.
Absolutely.
This is the difference.